Guys, wouldn't your wife or girlfriend love it if you treated her to the very best this Christmas? Now you can, with the world's softest pajamas by Pajamagram. Created by a team of pajama experts, the world's softest PJs are lighter than a cloud, softer than a bunny, like cashmere, only better. She'll love how heavenly they feel. Includes free gift packaging and Christmas delivery is guaranteed. So visit pajamagram.com or call 1-800-GIVE-PJs.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. She's Jemele. I'm Michael. There is your 6 at 6 on this Monday night. Thank you. Follow me. There you go. Go that way. Thank you. Appreciate it. After the break, we'll cover a couple of disturbing images from Sunday, but we start with the continuation of a season-long trend of disappointing injury news concerning star players. For breaking the franchise single-season record for touchdown passes and leaving the fans of a franchise which hasn't experienced an NFL title or boasted a league MVP since 1960 heartbroken. But their Super Bowl dreams aren't broken. With Nick Foles as a replacement, this is far from the Raiders losing Derek Carr to a broken leg and having to turn to Matt McGloin and Connor Cook. They weren't number 3 in offense or number 1 in scoring just because of Carson Wentz. Remember, they're also 4th in total defense and 6th in scoring D. So this feels more Jeff Hostetler-ish, Jemele. You know what I'm saying?
I'm sure Philly fans appreciate that optimism.
Nick, obviously, I hate it for Carson Wentz. I hate it for the career, or the season, I guess, that he's been having. But at the same time, it's been the next man up mentality, and that's how we approach it this week. I'm going to lead this football team. You know, it falls more on my shoulders than it does these players. So if there's ever an opportunity for me as a head football coach to rally the troops, you know, now might be the time.
All right, a couple of tweets for some guys going through some season-ending injuries themselves. Deshaun Watson and J.J. Watt both tweeting out their support to Carson Wentz. You know, you see their messages. Again, they've been through it or are going through it currently. And so I'm sure they can empathize with this situation them and their fans are going through.
Coley Harvey is in Philly. Coley, as I mentioned, I'm confident in the Eagles' chances with Nick Foles under center. What's the confidence emanating from the Eagles locker room and that organization today?
Oh, it's sky high, and I will preface that by saying only Doug Peterson was here today. The players were it was an optional day as they got back from the West Coast in the wee hours of this morning. But yes, the optimism is there. You know, in fact, even Nick Foles himself saying after the game yesterday that he is absolutely ready to lead this team and be the next man up, so to speak. Now, this is a team that's dealt with injuries all throughout the year. Jason Peters, the star tackle, offensive tackle, was lost for the year earlier this season. Jordan Hicks, the linebacker, another player, Darren Sproles, also lost for the year. And so they've had these other injuries that they've tried to rally around and rally through. And listening to Doug Peterson inside this building earlier today, he said that, yes, we're going to just stick to that same type of mentality, next man up. We're going to make sure that Nick Foles is put in the right positions to succeed. And he certainly believes that that's possible. There has been a question as to whether the Eagles might go out and get another quarterback now. Peterson addressed that by saying that no, that's not on the deck right now. That's not part of the playing cards for the Eagles at this point in time. So Colin Kaepernick is most likely not going to be an Eagle, at least not yet.
I could have told you that.
Of course, if something were to happen down the line to Foles. Yeah, of course. But if something were to happen to Nick Foles down the line, you know, we'll see what happens with that regard. But you're right. Yeah, I mean, I think we all probably could have assumed that. Yeah.
Understood. You're just giving us the details in case you were curious. Coley Harvey from Philly. Thank you, man.
I'm just giving a little extra color for you.
They called Jonathan Moxon first. Not surprisingly, Philly's odds to win it all have taken a hit with the Wentz injury. Entering Week 14, Philly had 6-1 odds to win the championship. Those are now all the way down to 12-1, same as Atlanta, and behind Minnesota and New Orleans in the conference. The odds for a conference title have dropped from 5-2 to 7-2.
However, even with Nick Foles, Ryan Clark, the Eagles still have, according to ESPN's Football Power Index, a 93% chance to get the 1 seed in the NFC, 46% chance to make the Super Bowl, that's best in the NFC, and 25% chance to win the Super Bowl, also best in the NFC. The Vikings quietly suffered some offensive line injuries. I look at this team, arguably the most complete team in the NFC. Why can't they do what they have to do with Nick Foles and still get to Minneapolis, especially if you only got to play 2 games to get there?
I don't have a reason why they can't. I really don't. I think the thing that Doug Peterson is going to have to do is not become baby Andy Reid, who is his coaching mentor, and decide to not run the ball. You go out, you get Jay Ajayi by the trade deadline. You have LeGarrette Blount. You have Clement. use these guys. These guys have to lead into the pass. It's not going to be the same thing where you can have Carson Wentz be the guy to come out, throw the ball, loosen things up, and then you run. They're going to have to do things a different way. So the playbook doesn't change, but the play calling and philosophy has to, and his defense has to get back to what they were doing, though, before the last 2 weeks, because they've given up way too many points against the Seattle Seahawks and Los Angeles Rams.
Well, I think it is helpful that you at least have an experienced backup in Nick Foles, who's had some success there in Philadelphia. So while it's not ideal to lose your star quarterback, at least you're going to an option that isn't going to, you may not be sort of unbeatable. Not they were totally unbeatable, but they were looking like a team that was destined to be something great.
The only person stopped Nick Foles is Jeff Fisher so far.
I'm about to tell you.
He's been pretty good.
With Jeff Fisherless, Nick Foles, and we have seen what Jeff Fisher coaching can do to a quarterback.
Right, and we've seen what they can do without Jeff Fisher as their coach.
You got more hot takes left in you, right?
I have a ton of them.
All right, we'll see you later.
We got some more to come with you. All right, it's official today. The Yankees introduced reigning NL MVP Giancarlo Stanton, who is just the third reigning MVP to change teams in the offseason. The other two, Barry Bonds and another name Yankees fans are familiar with, Alex Rodriguez. Now here's Stanton on what it will be like going from Miami to New York.
It'll be adjustment. It's a lot of press, a lot of things going on, but at the same time, this is what I've worked for. I've worked to be in a winning culture, a winning organization, and that'll be secondary. The media and all that. What I'm focused on is just playing and being better.
You talked about how this part of why you accepted this trade is because you wanted to buy into the team. Talk about what you see in the Yankees.
They're fighters. They know they can hang with the best of them, and I want to be a part of that. I want to take them over the hump and see where we can get this team.
Who better than to have on a day like today than Tex? Mark
Teixeira,
former Yankee. Just happened to be in the building.
Just happened to be here.
We all know about the home run potential, but what might people be overlooking as it relates to the impact of Stanton's acquisition, particularly on Aaron Judge?
Yeah, two great points. Number one is that Aaron Judge was the man last year. He had all the media attention. He had all of the sponsors coming after him and all the fans coming after him. Now he's got Giancarlo Stanton to take a little bit of pressure off him and have some fun. Number two, you have a guy like Stanton who is a very similar hitter. Two big guys, right-handed hitters that are going to hit the ball out of the ballpark. And I like these two guys hitting near each other in the order because they can talk back and forth. When a pitcher's out there attacking them, they can say, hey, what's this guy doing to you? What did he do? And then after the games, they can also discuss their game plan for tomorrow. I think they're going to be great for each other.
Yeah, they also. I'm sorry. I would say they also could be two starting linebackers anywhere in the NFL. The size is like
but
pretty
to your
incredible.
first point, I was going to say maybe it's more Maris and Mantle on many levels when it comes to almost like fire and ice type thing when it comes to personality.
Yeah, and this is why they brought Aaron Boone in. They brought a guy like Aaron Boone in to say, hey, listen, guys, we're all part of this. We're going to make some sacrifices. Some guys are going to DH a little bit. Hey, Stanton, you might have to play left. Judge, you might have to play left. But we're in it for a World Series, and that communication is going to be huge.
All right. Appreciate your text. We'll hear more from you later as well. In a lengthy IG post, Stanton thanked the fans and the city of Miami while at the same time offering condolences to both. He said in part, I feel for you fans. You stuck with me as we've shared some roller coaster years. I've always tried to be professional as possible during the unprofessional circus times there. It says it's going to be lit in New York. No doubt about that.
I wanted us to go forward and have an advance with the pitching staff. I thought our lineup was legit, and we needed help with our pitchers, and we needed to add rather than subtract. And the way they wanted to go was to subtract. So I let that be known. I didn't want to be a part of another rebuild, another losing season. I mean, you guys are the media. You've seen what has gone on down there. So no stamp of this is how things are going to be. It's a different direction every spring training. You got to learn something new every spring, a different manager every spring, every middle of the season. So that's mainly what I meant.
I think the one thing that everyone needs to realize is this is an organization that has not been successful. They have not been in the playoffs since 2003. So if you haven't been winning, then it's time to make a change. And in order to make a change, there's going to have to be some moves. And like I said, that you alluded to, there may be some unpopular decisions at times. But every decision that we make as an organization is to try to put us in a better position. And, we're trying to fix something that is broken. My feelings on trading him to the Yankees, I had no feelings about trading him to the Yankees. We wanted to get the best deal. And like I said, contrary to popular belief, we were not stuck with this deal. This was the best deal out of the three for our organization. It was the best deal for us. So in terms of trade, I know it's gotten a lot of headlines, but my feelings are to try to make the Miami Marlin organization better, and that is my number one priority.
You had a no-trade clause.
Yeah, Buster Olney joining us now live from the winter meetings in Orlando. I'm not accustomed to seeing Derek Jeter criticized so heavily. I mean, in New York, his name is still all good and always will be, but around the league, across the nation, and certainly in Miami, he's already starting off as a hated individual in that city. So talk about the scrutiny that he's been placed under following this deal and how he's now being viewed around Major League Baseball.
Yeah, Jemele, whoever made this trade, whoever came in as the Marlins' new ownership group and decided to make this trade to deal with the debt was going to be criticized because, unlike what Derek said, the Marlins were completely boxed in. They have hundreds of millions of dollars of debt. The easiest way to free themselves of some of that is to move this contract that the previous ownership made, and Giancarlo Stanton really controlled this entire process. Yes, they talked to the Cardinals and the Giants, but as Stanton told reporters today, he told the Marlins ahead of time that those were two of the teams he did not want to go to. Now, in terms of how Derek is handling things on a day-to-day basis, absolutely there have been some questions raised about whether he should have had more consistent communication with Stanton, how he handled the firing of Tony Perez and Andre Dawson, and even here at the winter meetings. This is like the one time in the year when everybody in baseball comes to the winter meetings to do their business. Derek Jeter is the head of baseball operations for the Marlins. He's not here. That doesn't make any sense, especially in your first year of running the Marlins. You could come here and spend this time to evaluate your own people who he's getting to know. It's like a player not showing up to play a game to not have Derek Jeter here at the winter meetings, given his title with the Marlins.
All right, and as it relates to the Yankees, though, how many organizations are willing to go from saying, hey, we want to reset our tax penalties to, yeah, we'll eat all but $30 million of a $295 million deal plus give you prospects. All right, so Stanton's in New York. That's official. What's the next big move to come out of these winter meetings?
Well, these teams that didn't land Giancarlo Stanton now have to react. I think you're going to see the St. Louis Cardinals make a deal with the Marlins perhaps for Marcell Ozuna, and perhaps Tampa Bay Rays with Evan Longoria, and the San Francisco Giants. They're trying to go out and get a big hitter. They've had some conversations with the Pittsburgh Pirates about Andrew McCutchen, and Garrett Cole is out on the market as well. The Yankees have had conversations with Pittsburgh, and they have potentially a prospect match if the Pirates want to do this deal. So the Pirates could be at the center of conversations here at the winter meetings.
Oh, yeah, more Yankee acquisitions, just what we need. Appreciate you, Buster. Thank you.
All right, the 6 at 6 rolls on. Coming up, we'll discuss the fallout from the Jags-Seahawks game. But first, let's talk about the fallout from the most vicious hit, I think, probably of the weekend. It's an image that sticks with everybody. Tom Savage down on the ground with his hands visibly shaking. Now, per the concussion protocol, Savage was taken off the field but lasted 3 minutes before he returned and then was yanked for good after one series. Now, this brought plenty of questions. Did the Texans see what most of us saw and still allow Savage to play? Bill O'Brien answered that earlier today.
Figured that he got hit. Really didn't know that he got hit. There's 12 bodies around him. Very, very difficult from the 50-yard line where I'm standing to see if he even got hit. With benefit of the video, which I do not have benefit of any video, there's no video on the sideline. All there are tablets. There's no video. There's nothing like that. With benefit of seeing the video, obviously, from my standpoint, the care for the player, I would have never let that player back in the game, and I don't believe that Jeff Kaplan would have allowed that player back in the game. I don't have benefit of the video. I did not see anything.
All right, so earlier, Tom Savage tweeted his appreciation for all the support, said he's doing just fine, and said of Coach Bill O'Brien, quote, nobody cares more about his players than OB. Louis Riddick, Why do we end up asking the same questions about either who's to blame or where did the protocol break down, whether it's Jacoby Brissett or this week it's Tom Savage? It's the same questions over and over. Why can't we seem to get this right?
Yeah, that's a great question, Mike. And really, it's coming down to human error, plain and simple, because really the process is supposed to be very defined as far as the number of eyes, number one, that are on the field and looking out for these kinds of things. Two, even though Bill O'Brien doesn't have the benefit of video, there are others that do have the benefit of video, the same way we did when we're watching it over there in the war room, or you're watching it at home, or wherever you're watching it. And there are people who should be able to see that Tom Savage is on the ground and he's convulsing to some degree. I'm not a doctor, you're not a doctor, but that tells me this. He doesn't need to go on any 10 on the sideline.
There was an official standing right over him.
He needs to go into a locker room now. So it's not Bill O'Brien's issue. This is a human error issue. This is a human problem. This is not a protocol problem.
Yeah.
And they better find some other humans to start making these decisions, because the ones that are making it, quite honestly, they need to be held accountable because they are in charge of taking care of the players.
Right.
That's what they're there for. It's not Bill O'Brien's job to be calling plays and actually trying to weed through bodies and see whether or not he's a Yankees player.
Because once he's told that the player's good, he's going to put his starting quarterback back in, even if it's Tom Savage.
Because he's making assumptions everybody did their job.
That's right.
You know what it needs to be? Take it out of it. Make the protocol so absolute, regardless of the devastating nature of the hit, and take them out for a determined period of time where they have to go in the locker room. If once you're in the protocol, that protocol can't be a 3-minute check in the tent and you're back in. It's got to be you're out for the quarter, or the next series at least. Just like in college, you lose your helmet, you're off for a play.
One of two things is going to happen. You're right. Either the people who are responsible for making these kind of errors are never going to be allowed to be in charge of this kind of thing again, or it's going to be just that. If anybody suspects you of having any kind of concussion, regardless of severity, you're off the field. You're going in the locker room, and that's it. It's not going to be going to this tent, pull this thing over your head, and pop out of it a minute later and go.
Did you see the video? Did you see the video?
Exactly. That's what it's going to be. And if they're serious about player safety, it'll be one of those two things. Because I'll tell you, that'll get people's attention.
Yeah. And it's hard to trust the process when we saw what early in the season with Russell Wilson, him take the hit, and he was going like 5 seconds, and then he comes back out.
He pulled the tent over himself and then took it off. And said, I'm good. I'm out of here.
It's still a lot to be worked out there. Speaking of the Seahawks, Adam Schefter reports that no Seahawks will be suspended for their actions in the closing minutes of their 30-24 loss to Jacksonville. But the NFL is still reviewing the confrontation that took place on the field and away from it. Defensive linemen Sheldon Richardson and Quentin Jefferson were both ejected, but as Jefferson exited, he got into a confrontation with fans. Now, someone threw a plastic bottle at Jefferson, who attempted to climb the wall to get into the stands. Not surprisingly, it was an emotional Seahawks locker room afterward.
I'm out there playing a game, and at the end of the day, it's a game, and I'm a man. I'm not going to let somebody disrespect me like that.
Going into the stands, do you think that was the right call? Was you still?
I don't know. Was it the right call for him to throw beer on me?
He don't want Just a question about
anything else.
He doesn't want to talk anymore. Move away from him. He doesn't want to talk anymore. He's emotional right now. You win. You guys win. You guys win.
Appreciate it.
That's what you guys want to see. You want to see him act a certain way? Move out the way. He's done. The man was disrespected. People threw his food on him. He's not an animal. He's a human being.
All right, now here's a statement from the Jaguars, which was released today, condemning the fan behavior. During the incident, 4 individuals threw 5 objects from the stands. These objects included plastic cups with ice and liquid, a bag of popcorn, and a plastic bottle. In accordance with the Jaguars fan code of conduct, these individuals are being identified and will be contacted. If they are Jaguars season ticket holders, they will immediately have their season ticket member privileges revoked indefinitely. Those purchasing single game tickets will indefinitely lose the option to purchase tickets for future games through the Jaguars and our affiliates. In addition, each will be banned from attending Jaguars games in the future. Well, let's start with the first part of this, which is the fact that there were no disciplinary action for what happened on the field,
for
Louis.
a change.
But I'm actually very surprised at that because, look, I mean, we've all given Michael Bennett a lot of credit for what he's done socially, the voice that he is, and he's a great player. But he did some dirty things, and they're right on film. We can all see them. That's kind of what started all of this. So I'm pretty surprised, especially given the punishment they just handed Rob Gronkowski for what he did, that they didn't do something here. What could possibly be the explanation for that?
That's the subjective nature of how they hand out punishment is very frustrating and it's irritating, and I talked about that last week. Look, there's 2 parts to this issue here with Michael Bennett, and I didn't address it clearly enough on NFL Live earlier today. Him trying to swipe at the ball at the snap of the play within the course of the football play, look, it's an unspoken rule that you are supposed to just go ahead and wave the white flag when people are trying to kneel. but it's not a rule that you can't try and get after the ball.
We've seen teams do this.
That's right.
Yeah,
Okay, that's number one. So everybody's going to fall on different sides of it. There's offensive linemen are going to go, well, next time I'm going to come off the ball. Well, fine, go ahead. All right, that's fine. But here's the issue. When you see it as the tape continues to roll, and Michael then is trying to roll on the back of the offensive lineman's legs, that's where it crosses the line. And look, I've said this consistently, just like with Gronk. Whatever happens within the course of a normal football play, look, I'm all for the viciousness of the game then. I asked for no sympathy. I gave none when I played. So I get that part of it. But rolling on the back of someone's legs like that, I am surprised about that. I am surprised that there wasn't a stiffer punishment handed down. Because really at the end of the day, look, players don't like people dipping in their pocket, but they really hate when the stage is taken away. Because that's what everybody out there is a performer to some degree. And number two, the league does have an image problem, and then they're starting to have a credibility problem with players and with some fans when the punishment is very inconsistent for stuff like this, stuff that happens outside the normal course of action. Michael's better than that.
Well, especially when you threaten somebody's livelihood, you deserve to take a seat.
Right.
But I'm pleasantly surprised they didn't discipline Jefferson. For once,
too.
Right.
I mean, implicitly sided with the player who was in this case provoked. Should he have gone into the stands? Could it have been a malice in the palace? No, he shouldn't have done it.
Right.
But somebody provoked him in a way that's out of bounds.
Yeah, look, he should have gone ahead and walked on in the tunnel the first time. That's what I would advise him to do. Just go, because you know you're emotional.
Like
just go, man.
You would have done in that situation.
But I probably wouldn't have.
Yeah.
After what just happened on the field.
That's right.
It's an emotional time.
You are amped up.
Right.
Now, if you come back and start jawing at somebody, okay, look, it's a bad look, but I get it. Then they threw another bottle. And the second time, it looked like somebody threw a bottle that came very close to hitting him in the face. It's not what you need to do. The players always have to take the high road. But as far as the fans are concerned, you should never be allowed that stadium again.
That entitle you to do what you want to those players.
That's right.
Thank you, Louis. Appreciate it.
Hey girl, have you done something new with your scales? Using new moisturizer? Nice. It really brings out the hazel in your eyes. Oh, hold on. Are you using whitening strips too? Your fangs look good, girl. Really good.
A really charming snake charmer? Surprising. What's not surprising? How much you could save by switching to Geico.
Wait, what? Have you been doing Pilates too?
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
All right, with apologies to Carson Wentz, today's top story is the game's #1 home run hitter having a new home in the nation's top media market and in the heart of the lineup of one of the marquee franchises, not just in the game, but in all of sports. They were already talking about a new Yankee dynasty in the near future before swinging a deal for Giancarlo Stanton and his 59 home runs. You might say that timetable has been accelerated just a tad.
Giancarlo Stanton led the major leagues in home runs last year with 59.
Aaron Judge, a tremendous home run.
Aaron Judge led the American League with 52. Nobody else was close to those two benchmarks. And now that the Yankees have a blockbuster deal with the Marlins, Judge and Stanton will loom in the same lineup, probably hitting back-to-back and creating one of the more fearsome hitting duos in baseball history. For the Yankees, a modern-day version of the M&M boys, Mickey Mantle and Roger Maris. Stanton is 6'6" and 250 pounds. Judge, 6'7", 282 pounds. And they don't hit baseballs, they launch them.
Oh my, put it to orbit. Way out of here, where's that going to land?
Of the 12 hardest hit baseballs in 2017, as measured by exit velocity, Judge had 7 and Stanton had 4. They met for the first time at last summer's Home Run Derby, and then baseball's heavyweights club baseballs to places almost nobody else can reach, a preview of what's to come. And now opposing managers and pitchers will often face the choice, a nightmarish choice. Do you want to pitch to Judge or do you want to pitch to Stanton? Good luck with that.
All right, with the addition of Giancarlo Stanton, next year's Yankees will be just the 4th team in MLB history to have the reigning AL and NL home run leaders on the same team. The last to do it was the 75 Phillies, who added Dick Allen to go with Mike Schmidt. The Yankees have done it once before, back in 1949. For more, let's send it over to Baseball Tonight.
Thank you, Jemele. And, of course, when A-Rod came over to the Yankees, they had Jason Giambi at 41 home runs. So that combination felt pretty lethal. Tim Kirchin is here, and so is Mark Teixeira. So they just sort of set it up here. You got to deal with pick your poison. You got to deal with Stanton and or Judge. But the truth is, there's a lot more to that lineup. Not asking you to devise your lineup, but my goodness, the idea that this is like nightmares for everybody who's not a Yankee fan. Stanton's now a Yankee?
Yeah, I mean, this is kind of unfair for the rest of the league's pitching staffs. You get a team that was one of the best offenses in all of baseball, got even better. And, for me, this lineup, you can kind of put them in a hat, shake them up, and pick them out, and it's going to be a good lineup. That's how much depth they have right now.
241 homers led the major leagues last year, and then they add a guy who hit 59 homers. Our pal John Fisher looked up 46% of the dates last year on the calendar, a home run was hit by either Stanton or Judge. Like every other day it almost averaged out, and now they're going to be together in the same lineup. The three strongest hitters I've ever seen in my life as far as imposing size are Frank Howard, Judge, and Stanton. And now two of them are going to play next to each other. And as far as how you look in a uniform, the two most impressive-looking baseball players I've ever seen are Judge and Stanton. And they're going to be playing next to each other.
We've seen a lot of guys who look good in the uniform, and then there are those who produce. These two have certainly produced, and they're still very young. All right, you play Aaron Boone. Give me the lineup.
This is fun. If you're Aaron Boone, this is a lot of fun. But I still like Brett Gardner leading off. He's that kind of pesky speed guy at the top of the lineup. Giancarlo Stanton bats number 2 for me. I want to get him as many at-bats as possible and really make that pitcher uncomfortable right from the get-go. I need to put in a lefty in there in between Stanton and Judge. So Didi Gregorius bats third. He's a really good middle-of-the-order hitter. He's getting better. And at Yankee Stadium, especially that left-handed bat plays. Aaron Judge bats fourth for me. Like I said, getting Stanton and Judge a little bit apart is pretty good. Gary Sanchez, one of the best hitters in all of baseball, is hitting fifth on this team. And to give him a little bit of left-handed support, again, breaking up those righties, Greg Bird. Now, if Greg Bird stays healthy, he's going to hit 30 home runs. So you have Stanton, Gregorius, Judge, Sanchez, and Bird. They can all hit 30 to 50 home runs. And then the 7 through 9, who cares? Right. It doesn't matter who you throw out there because 1 through 6 is going to score so much.
There are a lot of cautionary tales here. Remember Terry Francona was handed Carl Crawford the lineup, how are you going to do it? And they ended up having a really bad season.
Right. Everything points to the Yankees being a great power lineup, but that slider down and away changes a whole lot of things. What I just want to see Judge, Stanton, and Sanchez hitting 2, 3, 4 in the order, because I'm not sure I've ever seen 3 players with that kind of raw power in the same lineup at the same time. Raw power, and it's really going to be fun to watch.
Not only that, batting practice will be fun to watch. In fact, batting practice on certain days may be more fun than the games. Baseball tonight, 7 Eastern, ESPN2.
It's good to be home. All right. Everybody put your hands in the sky.
Patriots looking to extend their league record by clinching their 9th straight division title while establishing a league mark with an 8th consecutive 11-win season. Coincidentally, as of this afternoon, New England was an 11-point road favorite, despite not having Brady's favorite target when it's time to score touchdowns, that is. Favorite guy's the open guy. That's Rob Gronkowski.
All right, now playing in Miami has been Tom Brady's kryptonite, believe it or not. He has just a 7-8 career record in road starts against the Dolphins compared to a 14-1 mark in Foxborough against the Fish. Brady's won just one of his last 4 road starts against Miami. Now here's Lisa Salters with more.
Hey, Jemele. Hey, Michael. Well, Tom Brady sat out a day of practice this week, as he has the last few weeks. But he told us last night there is no real concern or problem with his right Achilles, although he said it is a bit irritated and continues to be a source of frustration for him. But other than being a nuisance, he told us the Achilles is good to go and that his body actually feels better now at 40 than it did when he was 25. And his play on the field this season certainly backs that up. With 47 passing yards tonight, Brady will pass Warren Moon for the most yardage in a season by a quarterback in his 40s. And his 55-10 record in December is the most wins for a quarterback of any age in any month. But there is one brass ring that no 40-year-old quarterback has ever been able to grab, and that, of course, is a Super Bowl ring. Brady could take a step towards stiff-arming Father Time tonight on that as well. A Patriots win would clinch their record 9th consecutive AFC East title.
All right.
You didn't see Lisa standing there? Nothing.
Entering Week 14, Carson Wentz had the second best odds to win MVP, only behind Tom Brady. And not only is Wentz now done for the year, but we also saw Russell Wilson and Drew Brees take losses this week, potentially hurting their MVP chances. Now, Ryan Clark back with us now. Look, to me, Tom Brady, he's never not had the lead this season, right? So if we want to, do we want to argue now about an MVP race about second place, or is the ways?
Can we talk about second place in climbing though?
Okay.
Can we talk about second place in climbing? Second place and could take over first next week.
Ooh, tell us.
Against the Patriots.
Against the Patriots. Number 84 from the Pittsburgh Steelers, Antonio Brown.
Really?
And I know that doesn't happen. It's a quarterback.
Never won it.
Yeah, it's a quarterback award.
Running back.
Right, but if you watch what Antonio Brown is doing, when you know he's getting the ball, he's going to be the target, and he just makes play after play after play. And even though he gets these yards and Ben's his quarterback, Ben don't look as good as Antonio looks right now in the way he's playing. Russell Wilson take a step back with 3 interceptions and a loss. Yeah. Antonio moves up into that spot. Carson Wentz gets hurt. He goes out, has a big game against the Patriots next week, and they beat him.
Especially the way that Belichick tries to take away what you do best.
Right.
Like your primary option.
It's going to be easier said than done against this team.
100%.
Right.
But you're right. Like, look, if a receiver's ever going to do it, it's him. But with Brady, though, like you said, always been the front runner, even though some people, which might have included you, tried to say he was done. Believe it or not, it's kind of almost like a feel-good story to Brady, of all people. Even though a lot of people are sick of him winning it, sick of the Patriots, the way they started the season.
You feel good?
No. I'm saying you had so many people putting him out to pasture. You had so many people saying he was done. But he's the old guy, the oldie, but still just as goody, if you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah,
and now
I feel good about it, though, Michael.
Did I call you a homer when you picked Antonio Brown to finish? When you Finch straddled and said it's Brady, but it might be Antonio Brown next week? No, I didn't say nothing about your Steelers.
I thought we all agreed it was Brady. And
but then you said, but here's my take on Antonio Brown.
We started another conversation.
Okay.
I'm just entertained by this.
So I'm just trying to figure out why would we ever feel good about anything that happens in New England?
You can let it go, Ryan.
You have it all. You know what? I have no hate for him. Who thought Tom Brady was done?
Let me talk about a lot of people. Let me talk about a sport that you know something about, basketball. Let me talk about that. LeBron might get MVP this year, even though there has been fatigue with LeBron, and LeBron is deserving of MVP every single year. But the way he played in the finals and the way he's playing now, doesn't it feel like people want to right or wrong and give it to the best player in the world? Likewise with Tom Brady, even though he's the GOAT and could be MVP any year, it feels like there's also the corresponding narrative you need to cast a vote, Jemele, as it relates to Brady, which is, look at him defying Father Time. Yeah, look at him dealing with all the people around him.
He's old. That's the narrative.
And then people in September were like, look at him falling off the cliff, and then they go trade Garoppolo because he's still just that good. That's all I'm saying.
No,
Does that make sense?
No, that makes
he doesn't seem to get,
that makes. I think the trigger word for him was feel good and Patriots in the same sentence. Almost
like Yankees and good for baseball.
Yeah, exactly. It's like kind of like the Patriots have enough nice things. Do they really need?
Like the Steelers ain't ever been good. The Steelers are underdog or something.
No, that's what I'm saying. I was like, let it go, Ryan. It's okay. No, I mean, look. I have been one of those people who, throughout many years, have railed on this award, has single-handedly become a quarterback's award. I mean, there's a part of me that, just for the breakup of it, to see Antonio Brown, really be a factor in this conversation. But I just don't think he will be, even if they do win next week. Look, Tom Brady, I think the way that he's performed all season, this has got to be a body of work. Not that Antonio Brown hasn't had it.
No doubt.
But I think when you talk about age, now you talk about the fact that he's missed or will miss Rob Gronkowski this game. And I know he's played and performed well without Gronk. Then you look at how much their defense struggled and how he kind of carried them through that until they got their stuff together. So he's just been so consistent all season.
No, absolutely.
Players have come in and out. Like Russell Wilson, he didn't get off to the greatest start either. And then he started balling. And then, you know what I'm saying? He's been the guy all season.
I feel that way about Tom, too. I've talked about how the reason Tom doesn't win it all the time is like LeBron, is like Michael Jordan. You just want to give it to the dude that had the second best season just so you don't have to give it to him.
Story.
Right, just so you don't have to give it to him. The story about him being old, I just never bought into it because I ain't seen the dude slip none.
You understand what I'm saying?
Until I see him slip.
I wasn't talking to you when I said it. I was talking to people that didn't know what
until I see him slip. But I do think what Antonio has been able to do at a position that's so dependent on other people.
Else,
and he doesn't have the Julio Jones stuff.
Right?
Like
not a freakish.
Right. If Antonio walked by us, we'd be like, oh, look at that little dude.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If we watched him run the 40, we'd be like, that was pretty regular.
Right.
But then when you watch him play, he dominates, dude. And I think that's really impressive.
It'd also be fun to see him come full circle and win it in the same season where, remember, he knocked over the Gatorade cooler.
Yeah, absolutely.
Was a selfish guy, and then he turned out to be most valuable.
Now they throw it to him 18 times a game.
You know what? With all due respect to our fellow colleagues, most valuable analyst right there.
Gosh, that's why I fool with you guys, man.
Look at that. Hug it out. All right, now Philly fans, of course, not surprisingly, they aren't handling the Carson Wentz injury well. For example, Chris.
I'm like really hurt, man.
Chris, you're blaming me for what happened.
No, but you know what it is, man? I'm just tired of saying.
Chris, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
He's crying.
Why do we get hurt all the time, man?
I don't know the answer to it, Chris. That's why I just
What
did
is
the
this,
show.
man? I mean, we're looking for soccer basketball.
I understand, Chris, but Chris.
Why are you laughing?
That's
real.
Permission to laugh?
No, you can't laugh. That's real. That's real.
Really?
Like this man,
a grown man cried over it. Come on, man.
Hey, man. He thought he saw his dreams go up in smoke.
I get it. It's a tough time in Philly. I understand.
That's the problem. Why are you assigning these gender roles as if this man can't be in touch with
No, I would say that about anybody. Cam Newton, 75 yards in the round.
Run right there.
It is 62 on this play alone, which set up Jonathan Stewart for the game-winning TD in his third score of the day. But let's peep this outfit. But better important is the reason why he wore it.
I was reading a GQ magazine, and one of my favorite artists is because he is, put Atlanta on the map, Andre 3000. He had like a brimless hat. And I was like, man, I want that. I ain't never seen nobody. I look in NBA, NFL, baseball. Ain't nobody seen a brimless hat. So I wanted to put the first one, behind the scenes with the brimless hat. So you've seen it here first, Cam Newton, brimless hat. Tripping.
Panthers definitely a threat in the NFC. Now the more important matters. 3 stacks.
That's what I'm saying.
Lock, top 5 MC. Top 3 for me. I got that GQ article bookmarked.
It was a great piece.
I got it bookmarked.
See,
I'm not even one of the people that need him to be more prolific.
I was going to say the top 5 is only a problem because the solo project factor in this, all right?
When he blesses
But it's your
us with
top
a verse,
5. It's your top 5.
Exactly.
It's
My
your
top
favorite,
5.
right? I'm just saying he wouldn't make my 5 because I need a little more, even though I love him.
I hear you.
But that was a great tribute to Andre 3000.
So, LiAngelo and LaMelo Ball, they are playing in Lithuania. They have signed.
The L combination.
You think alliteration had something to do with?
Triple L. See, I can see what they did there. Anyway.
Could have gone to a country that started with B. If that's the case. They're on brand.
That's true. The franchise has hopes that the balls, including LeVar, could be a marketing boom for this fledgling franchise.
Is that outside those pop-up shops?
It was.
People stepped in. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Seems about right. Yeah.
All right, Jeff Goodman joins us to tell us more about this situation. What can you tell us about where the Ball brothers are going?
Prienu Vitotas. That is
job.
the name, I'm told. That's the correct pronunciation. How about that? I nailed it. And I could be doing sideline over there in probably a month or so because that's when they're supposed to go over. Early January. They've signed a 1-year deal or probably more of a 6-month deal. And the bad news is that the coach doesn't speak English. That may actually be the good news for the coach in terms of dealing with LeVar Ball. However, the good news is it's an unorthodox team. I'm told by somebody who played in Lithuania for a long time. They like to shoot a lot of threes. They play guys out of position. They don't really guard. So he felt like this would be the perfect fit for LiAngelo and LaMelo because they'll get some playing time. LeVar's big thing was playing them together. And they're not going to make a lot of money over there, but they should get a chance to play together if they do play over there. And the source I spoke to said it's probably a 50-50 shot if they ever even end up over there. And if they do, the over-under, according to him, how long they'd make it, maybe a month.
If we dispatch you over there, that'd be like you getting a Siberia assignment, right? Hopefully you don't have to go with them. Appreciate it, Jeff.
I don't need that one.
Yeah.
All right.
We had a good day.
All right, it's a good day for Tigers fans because finally, Jack Morris and Alan Trammell were elected to the Hall of Fame by its Modern Era Committee yesterday. They played 13 seasons alongside each other and brought Detroit a World Series in 1984. They'll be enshrined together on July 29th. Once Lou Whitaker is in, all will be right with the world.
I heard that Trammell found out in the airport. Hopefully he didn't get on the flight.
Right.
Took a detour. Hey, it's a good day for baseball because Giancarlo Stanton is a Yankee, not being wasted away in Miami. But regardless of what the competition and people like Boston, the Boston Red Sox fans feel, when the evil empire is that much eviler, that's a great thing for the game.
Is it?
It is. It is.
Mixed emotions about that. No, it is good for New York.
You know, it's great for the game. It really is. And you know what's great right now is the Baseball Tonight crew breaking it down live from the winter meetings. That's next, because that's it for the 6. We will see you tomorrow over on E1. That's ESPN for people that don't know how we speak around here.